welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content, and click on that great big bell icon to get notified of every time I go live. If you wonder what hoodie I've got on today, I've got my Everything's Coming Up Aces hoodie. This is from my own Redbubble Asexualise shop. So if you need asexual merchandise, please click on the link down below and grab yourself some merch. There's 60 designs on about 28 different items, which is great for presents. So yes, everything's coming up aces. Woohoo! Anyway, so to get on tonight's video, tonight I'm going to be talking about 5 essentials you need for a healthy relationship. So stay tuned for that. And if you don't know who I already am, I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book. So let's get on with tonight's stream. So 5 essential ingredients you need for a successful relationship. Now, I've actually made notes for this one. So number 1 is communication. Communication is the number 1 skill that you need to master if you want to have a successful, happy, healthy, committed relationship. So obviously you still need to master this if it's a friendship. So maybe we're not talking about a relationship as in a romantic relationship. Maybe we're talking about a friendship as well. You have to have very strong communication skills. Now, if communication isn't your strong point, you need to make that part of your full-time job of life. So in life, we have our main core job that we go to, right, on a daily basis, or maybe you work from home, maybe you're retired, or maybe you just don't work at all. But we usually have a job. But in life, you have more than one job. You have a job of looking after your home. You have the job of, if you've got kids, looking after the kids. And you have a job of looking after a relationship, if you're in one, looking after that person's heart, mind, body and soul, because obviously you've got to take care of their mind, body and soul just as much as they have, because when you are coming to a relationship, they are trusting you with their mind, their body and their soul, and you both have to look after each other's, like a relationship is a full-time job, right? If you just think, oh, I'll just spend part-time on this job, you'll get part-time output, right? Part-time input is part-time output, right? You get out of anything in life what you put in. So you need to be making a relationship, if you're, a full-time job. And if you want really best friends, close friends, you need to make them like a full-time job as well. Do you know what I mean? But lots of people tend to, in the asexual community, if you're not looking for a relationship, people tend to value friendship just as much as a relationship. If you're romantic in nature, then that romantic relationship will usually take priority to a certain extent. It's the fact of the way things are. But obviously we should still maintain and keep our close friendships as well. We need our best friends. We need to be speaking to our friends, not just the person we're in a relationship with. And that's what I love about my best friend Sam as well. They've got a wonderful partner who they're consistently in contact with. I hear from them quite as much, not quite as much, but they still keep in contact with me a heck of a lot. We've still got our Skype sessions every Monday. They still keep in touch with me as much as they can. I'm still their best friend, even though they've got a partner. And so they do a very good job of still maintaining and sustaining our friendship, our bestest friendship, whilst having a partner, And so, I know that when they're with their partner, they need their alone time with them. They need their quiet time. And I know they need a quality time every day with their partner, So when you have a friend that gets into a relationship, you have to understand as well that they are going to spend a bit less time talking to you or with you because they have a partner. They've got to allocate some of their lifetime to that partner. And it's normal and natural for them to do that. So you just have to understand that, because I know some asexuals are like, oh, but I've got these friends, and when they've got a partner, they kind of forget about me. And if they're a true friend, they shouldn't forget about you, right? If I get a partner, I will still have, my 3 best friends. My best friend Debs, who I just video chatted with tonight, and in a short time, I'm going to be audio calling my best friend Andy, and then tomorrow I am video chatting by Skype with my best friend Sam. So they're my 3 best friends. Make sure I maintain and sustain all those relationships, which are friendship relationships. And so it's very important. But if we're talking about the 5 essentials in relationships, so we're talking about a romantic relationship, you must make communication your number 1 skill that you've got to master, right? not everyone's good at this. This takes a long time to learn. Like, communication skills takes a heck of a long time. It's always a learning process. It's always a journey. I'm still learning how to communicate more effectively, right? But what I'd say in a relationship is you need 3 different types, especially if you've got a long distance relationship, because lots of asexuals tend to get into more longer distance relationships because eventually one person usually needs to move to the other because you'll just miss each other, you love each other, and you'll probably want that person close. But, you know, when you're having any type of long distance relationship, especially if it's in a completely different country, but hopefully it's in the same country so you can meet up sometimes, you know, you need highly effective communication skills, but that takes a while to adjust to each other. You're not going to understand straight away how that other person works because everyone has their own ways of working. Like, I have anxiety. You know, there's no getting around that. I have potential relationship anxiety, in relationship anxiety. And so, you know, a partner or a potential partner's got to be very understanding about that. And I've got to communicate effectively with that person how my anxiety is for me and how it affects my day-to-day life and my relationship or potential relationship with that person or people, or if you're polyamorous, you know. I'm monogamous. So, you know, you've got to communicate effectively and you've got to state boundaries, you know, what and expectations and what's good and what's bad for you. You've got to really open up and tell that person how you feel. Now, if they walk away from you, you've got to be prepared for that. You've got to be prepared to think, okay, if they walk away from you, they're not the right person for you, even though it's going to hurt. But if they're the right person for you, they'll want to be in your life. They'll want to understand you and they'll want to make adjustments, reasonable adjustments, not flaming like change the whole life around completely. They'll want to make reasonable adjustments and be flexible to help you and them along in the relationship or potential relationship, right? But you should be using lots of different methods of communication. So when you, especially in a long distance relationship, you need to be using audio calls, video calls, and text. Or, you know, maybe, I mean, obviously video is visual and audio. But I would always recommend, you know, you use like all 3 to your advantage. You know, I prefer video chat, right? Because video chat, you can see the person, you can read their body language, you can see their beautiful face, you can interact with them better, you can see them in their own home environment, which is very important for realism. And, you know, it's just, you can have flowing conversation, right? Texting's great, but you can get a lot of misunderstandings through texting, and it can take a long time to write a text out. Sometimes I spent, like, in emails, for example, I spent like 4 hours doing an email in the past before, when I could have just phoned up that person, I'm sure, or I'll video called them, and I'm absolutely sure that I got all that stuff I said in like less than 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? Or even less than that, probably in like an hour or half an hour. You know, so for me, because I'm that busy with everything I do with work, sometimes it's just easier for me to actually video chat with the person or audio call with the person than it is to actually message. But I think the most effective methods of communication are all 3, or particularly video chat and, you know, video chat and text. But, you know, even audio, like I like those little audio snippets you can leave on Facebook and Messenger. Like, if you can't, you know, if you're not be able to video chat or phone call each other, it's nice to leave some voice messages as well, because you can hear the person's voice, you can hear how they feel about you, how warm they feel about you. So it's nice to have video, audio, and text, because it covers all the senses as well, like the visual senses. You know, if they're audio calling you or leaving audio messages, you've got the ear sensors, the sensory, you know, like, you know, so you've got audio, which is the mouth, you've got visual, obviously the ears, you're taking that in, and you've also got the typing as well. I just think it creates a lot more sensory connection, and it gives a lot more completeness and good feeling. So in terms of communication skills, you know, like some people like a lot of messaging in relationships, others don't, because I have an anxious personality. I do like to hear from my person if I'm in a relationship, like every day usually. I like them to explain, you know, like they don't, you know, I don't need to see them all the time. I know they've got a life of their own, but I do need that communication to know what's going on in their life, so I feel like I'm part of their life, even if I'm not with them. I feel like I'm a part of their life. Do you know what I mean? And my friends are like that. Like my best friend Sam, I feel very much included in their life, even though I see them once a week on video camera because they always keep in touch with me and they kind of tell me what's happening. And, you know, we come in and out of each other's daily lives usually. And it's like, how's your day gone? How's this gone? How did that go? How did that go? Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like it's an ongoing dialogue. There's no like end to it. It's kind of continuous stream and that feels comfortable. You know, we've got a good flow there. I mean, me and Sam's been best friends now since 2000. Well, it's only 2 years, 2.5 years, but it seems like forever. So we've got really highly good communication skills, you know. And the best thing about my friends as well is that if I'm in real dire need, like if I'm experiencing a lot of extra anxiety or a lot of upset or pain or something, my friends, our best friends, will be like ready on video call or audio call, you know, to be there for me. Besides having their own life, they'll make time for me, and I try and always do that for them, you know. If they're, you know, like my friend Andy, they're not feeling very well at the moment, so you know, I'm like, you know, how's about a call, you know, because I want my friends to feel like they're alone or in pain or they haven't got anything like good to focus on at the moment. They're not very well. So it's very essential that in communication and in relationships, you schedule time in to chat to the other person. I think that's so important. You need to schedule time in. You know, like I have to schedule video chats. I have to schedule phone calls. And me and my friend Sam, my best friend Sam, we have a regular schedule of Monday nights. I've had to adjust the time slightly because of my new job. But because we've got that time together, I know, you know, I know that I've always got that quality time with them. It doesn't make me panic. It doesn't make me feel distant because I've always got that special day for a few hours just between me and them. You know, I've always got that quality time there. So I don't need to worry so much because it's like we can catch up with each other. There's always that day. Do you know what I mean? And I think in a relationship that's very effective. You should have regular contact, like even if it's not a set day, if you can't do that because sometimes schedules get busy, you should have like a plan for like in a week's time, like when you're going to actually video call next, so you feel like you're always connected to that person. You've always got something to look forward to. And something else is, don't just connect on social media, right? All my best friends, we've got each other's phone numbers because you don't just want to be connected on social media. If Facebook banned your page, how would you get in touch with that person again if you haven't got their email address or any other way of contacting them? You should have their especially if you want to get into a relationship with someone or potential relationship with you should have their email address, you should have their phone number, and as well as social media connections. Right? So if all you're doing is connecting with someone on Facebook and you really care and love them, how does that show it fully? You know, if you only connect on Facebook, because Facebook could go just like that. My friend, one of my entrepreneur friends, 12,000 followers he had. And he had tons of friends. I think it was like nearly 5,000 friends on Facebook. And Facebook just shut his account down just like that, you know? So you don't know what's happened. He's just created a new one and added me in the last 24 hours. That's how quick it can be. Facebook are clamping down on things a lot lately, especially, you know, as for asexual, they don't even recognize asexuality in the HTTP address. So if you really care about someone, don't just connect with them on social media. Connect with them off there. Get their phone numbers. So number one is effective communication skills. This is audio, visual, text, and make sure you have ways of contacting them off social media. We want the reality. You know, Facebook could just take your stuff off like that. So could WhatsApp. So could most things. Technology can flare up and not act correctly. Sometimes messages can even go missing. So you want to be more safe than sorry. Like all my best friends, like if I need to get them, I'll get them on their phones as well. Sometimes I don't want to be on Facebook. Sometimes I want to take time out, but I still want to contact my friends, so I'll contact them by text because I don't want to go into Messenger because I just get messages all the time sometimes. And sometimes I love it and other times it's too much for me. And I just need some time off Facebook, but I still want to contact my friends. So obviously if you're in a relationship, potential relationship, it's really good to have a text. Number to text, right? So that's number one, effective communication. If you communication skills are lacking, don't worry, don't beat yourself up over it. Aim for that. Aim to improve your communication skills, and that will help you to become a better person, and it'll help you to more effectively communicate with different people in all multiple aspects of your life. So your life is going to improve anyway. But in any relationship, you should be aiming to have the best communication skills possible. So number two is express how you feel without blame. This is really important. This is an essential criteria in any healthy relationship, right? Express how you feel without blame. So you would say, when this happens, this is how it makes me feel. When you say this, this is how I feel about it. when this is said, or this is done, or this happens, this is how I feel. And so you express how you feel. So you don't say, you said this and you made me feel angry. You said this and you made me feel bad. You said this and you made me feel insulted. What you say is to the other person, when this was said, or when you said this, I felt blah, blah, blah. So you're not blaming them. You're just telling them what their behavior or attitude or what they said made you feel, without putting any blame, without saying it's wrong for them to say that. It's just how you feel. So you're not telling them they've got to not say it. You're not telling them they shouldn't say it. You're saying how that affects you. Now, a good person will want to know this. They'll want to know exactly how things affect you, so that they can be more thoughtful in the future and considerate. And because they probably didn't even know it affected you. You know, they've got a completely different mind to you, probably. They might have different ways of doing things in their life. They might see things from a completely different point of view. And neither of you's right or wrong, but it's just different ways of working. And if you're going to be in a relationship together for a long period of time, then you need to be able to have ways of expressing yourself that don't blame the other person, but clearly state how situations, thoughts, feelings, and things that crop up make you feel. Right? So that's really important. That's number 2. Express how you feel, but do it without blame. Number 3 is speak directly about how you feel. So it's very similar to number 2, but it's speak directly of how you feel. So instead of, how can I put it? So you have to say directly how you feel. So if you want to instill more effective communication, if you want to connect more, right, you need to let another person know how you feel. So if you really love someone, you tell them, I am feeling so much love for you right now. I'm feeling so much warmth from your heart right now. I'm feeling so happy to be with you right now. I'm feeling so good that we've had this conversation right now. Right? So you're directly saying how you feel, right? This provides a heart-to-heart connection, right? And if things aren't going well and you express directly how you feel, the other person can feel like they're a part of your soul. Because when you express yourself in raw terms, they can feel you. They can feel your heart emotions. Even if something's not going well, it can actually bring you together by being direct. If you don't be direct, then you're both not feeling good. And you're both kind of hiding how you feel, and you're both treading on eggshells. You don't want that. You want to say, like, when, like, it's very similar to the other one, about expressing how you feel without blame, but it's about being direct, about being to the point. Like, oh, I loved you the way you looked at me then. I loved the way you smiled at the end. I loved the way you make me feel when. I love this about you. And if there's a problem, you have to state, when this happened, this is how it made me feel. But you have to be very direct. So it's very linked to, so number 2 is to express yourself how you feel without blame. And number 3 is to be direct in expression. So don't beat around the bush and say, I can't even beat around the bush anymore, usually. I'm very direct all the time because I just train myself that way, and it's natural for me to be that way. So instead of me saying, I can't even do it, it's impossible for me to do pretty much, but instead of like keeping quiet about how I feel and letting things build up, I express it directly. So this is number 4, actually. Say problems before they get out of hand. Say problems before they get out of hand, right? So if you feel like tension, if you feel like something's worrying you, you need to say it. You need to say, look, I'm not feeling good now. And this is why I'm not feeling good. Because if you just say I'm not feeling good, that makes the other person feel distant and like, oh, well, I don't know what's going on. Are they going to leave me? Are they going to start shouting at me? Are they going to walk away from me? Are they going to not care about me anymore? But if you say, like, I'm not feeling good right now, but I really, really want us to work together, or I'm not feeling good right now, but I really appreciate you being in my life and I really care about you. I want us to work together, but the reason I'm not feeling good is because when this happened, it made me feel this way. And, you have to nip problems in the bud, because if you don't, one problem will just pile on top of another. And anyone in a relationship that's just got loads of problems which aren't being discussed directly, they'll just think it's too stressful and they're more likely walk away because you haven't effectively communicated the issues and you haven't had a way of resolving them because no one knows what the hell's going on. Right? When people don't know how the other person feels, and it's both like keeping secrets and both of you not saying how you feel, but don't just say like, I don't feel good now, because if you say I don't feel good now, what's the other person gonna do with that? They can't have anything to work on. You have to say why you don't feel good. What is it that triggered the fact that you don't feel good? How can this be rectified? You know, and work on it like a task that needs to be, or problem that needs to be, an obstacle that needs to be overcome, rather than problem that ends the relationship. Work on it together and how to effectively have a better relationship. You know, someone who loves the other person will want to work with you to create a more fulfilling relationship and want to work with you to resolve issues as quickly as possible, you know. And going back to number one, communication skills, you should always have emergency procedures. What I mean by this, especially if you're on a long distance relationship, you're not living together, right? If a problem happens in your relationship, it's just going to build up and build up and build up, right? You have to have ways of means of effectively saying emergency procedures. So with me and my best friends, right, if I'm really upset or in pain or having a really bad day, it'll be like, well, I can chat to you and like, you know, I'll phone you when I get home, or I'll talk to you as quickly as I can, or, you know, because we're there for each other. So we're there for each other. We respect our own lives, but there's times that we do need each other. We need more attention. We need more talking to. We need more help. We need each other. And this isn't just me and my best friends, right? Me and Andy and Sam, basically. We have to do like emergency procedures with some of you know, with each other sometimes. Sometimes we've had a really bad time. Sometimes we've had a really bad day, you know. Sometimes we just need someone to talk to. And we need to be able to be there for each other, as well as getting all their own lives. It's juggling that, but this is what you do. And when you get into any relationship, you have to understand that sometimes once a week video call isn't enough. Sometimes you have to have like audio chats or video chats or phone chats throughout the week at different times of days. If you've got a major problem in your relationship, the last thing you want to be doing is going to sleep on it. You want to be sorting it out there and then, pretty much, so that you're both on an even keel. Especially in long distance relationships. Long distance relationships are harder. They require more communication. Right? Because you're not physically there with each other. You can't see what the other person's doing. You can't see their body language. You can't see their reactions unless you video chat with them. You know, and things just might be misconstrued. So you've got to understand that you've got to have highly effective communication skills. Express how you feel without blame. Be direct. And you've got to talk about problems before they get out of hand. And number 5 is take equal responsibility for the relationship. Now, a good person will not blame you for every problem in the relationship, even though you might be the one that's bringing to their attention problems and issues. They're not going to blame you, because they're going to realize that they've also got an equal part to play in their communication skills with you, in their interactions with you, in how they talk to you, in how they make you feel. If they're a healthy person, if they're a narcissistic person, they'll just be like, oh, well, you're the problem, I'm not. So like, they'll be like, oh, change yourself. They'll say some stupid stuff like that. Now, if you hear anyone blaming you for everything, saying that you're the problem and you've got to sort yourself out, that is a narcissistic person you need to run a mile from. Right? No person, like, to effectively communicate, you've got to realize there's 2 people involved. You know, and if you're not effectively communicating, it's because one of you doesn't understand the other or understand how that person works, you know? And sometimes there can be power plays, even if they're not intentional power plays, where one's trying to impose their views on the other person, right? But you mustn't do this. You must listen to the other person, and you must say and express how you feel openly and honestly. It might not be what they want to hear. It might not be the same thing as them. It might be different, but you've got to care enough about the person to express and say, you know, like, because I've had problems in my past, you know, with past relationships. I've got anxiety. I don't sugarcoat it to a guy. I don't say, oh, right, you get with me in a relationship, like everything's going to be plain sailing. I don't do that because it's not setting the expectations up, right? What makes a relationship stronger is working through your issues and problems that you have to usually work through alone together in an effective way, right? That's what actually draws you more emotionally close to the person, not just everything's good and hunky-dory all the time, because anyone can have a great relationship when that happens. It's getting through the tough times together, saying how can we effectively make sure each other shows up in each other's lives in a way that feels good to us both, in a way that doesn't take away anything of our lives, because you want to have a life of your own and continue that life of your own if you've had it. I couldn't be in a relationship with someone who wouldn't want me to do my writing or my blogging or this channel or didn't support me, because it's a huge part of who I am, and I'm not prepared to wrench my heart out for some person, just like they will be used to things that make them really happy and feel good. And that's what you want them to be doing, because you want it to be a healthy relationship. So you want them to have their time and do their things so they're really happy and good. Never ever stop people doing like stuff that they want to do, because it just builds resentment, and it also is very unhealthy, and love is about wanting the person to be happy. So you want them to do their own thing, and then they'll come back even stronger and more happier that you are happy for them to be happy and to do what they love to do, and you enjoy it and you express that you love to see them happy, and you wish them well. It's good when you're effectively communicating, saying, I'm doing this today, I'm doing that today, and share plans with each other. You can share your plans with each other without actually, you share plans of what you're doing, and you make plans with that person as well, so they feel included in your life always and included in your life with other people, basically. Anyway, I've got to go because I need to audio call my best friend Andy. I love you and leave you for now. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video live stream. Bye bye.